Trojan Sports Now.
Hello and welcome to Trojan Sports Now. I'm Amy Alston.
And I'm Colin Cahill. Stick around as we bring you the latest news and scores from Troy Athletics.
Coming into Saturday's matchup, the Trojans of UALR only had one loss in conference play, sitting at the top of the rankings. However, the Trojans of Troy decided to double that total before sending them back to Arkansas. The number one team in the conference came to Trojan Arena and wasn't ready for the Trojans. The women's basketball team defeated UALR 65-62.
Well, needless to say, it was a great win in Trojan Arena today. To be such a fine team as UALR.
In the first half,
they have a lot of tradition, great coaching, great athletes, and it was a great, I guess you'd call it an underdog story today. We really didn't play like underdogs, though, even when we were down at 10 points. My first inclination is to get in that frantic pressing mode, but we stayed back and played our zone defense and kept our game plan.
Troy trailed by 10 headed into the half, but the team refocused their game plan in order to take down the tough UALR defense.
We tried to look pragmatically at it. We were not accomplishing our goals. We wanted to be out rebounding them. We wanted to have more second chance shots than they did. Honestly, because they're the number 2 defense in the nation, we knew that we weren't going to have a big high-scoring night, so we were trying to get points off of second-chance shots. The ball so close to the goal on a rebound, we wanted to get those, and we weren't winning that war at halftime. So those are the kind of things we tried to correct at halftime to get back to our game plan and back to the goals that we had set.
And the players said that the defeat on UALR's home turf is what motivated the victory today.
The first day we started practicing, Graf told us that we just didn't show up to play. But we showed up ready, and we wanted to redeem ourselves today.
Encourage each other and just let each other know that this is what we work for and this is why we were so focused in practice, and I'm just glad that we won and we played together.
Basketball team took their 5-game win streak to San Marcos, Texas, and came away victorious yet again. The Trojans came out strong in the second half and took the game 75-59 from Texas State. In the first half, Troy only outscored the Bobcats 36-33, but when the Trojans came out in the second half, they scored 39 points in comparison to Texas State's 26. Leading scorers for the Trojans were Renita Garrett and Ashley Beverly Kelly. Garrett had 24 points, followed by Beverly Kelly, who had 12 points. The Trojans are now 13-5 in conference play and are riding a 6-game win streak.
The men's basketball team was on the losing side again as they fell to UALR 63-58. I was at the game to give us the details. The Trojans looked to pick up a crucial win Saturday night in Sun Belt Conference play, but were denied by a defensive-minded UALR team and fell 63-58.
We were slightly prepared. We prepared a little bit yesterday because they played about 5 minutes of that against Arkansas State, and then they came right out of it. And it wasn't like Arkansas State got them out of it with the way they were playing, which told us that, okay, they're going to play it 5 or 6 minutes and come out of it. Well, they played it 40 minutes tonight, and we never did figure it out.
The Trojans struggled to shoot the ball in the first half, only scoring 15 points, tying their lowest output of the season. UALR's stingy defense held the Trojans to just 30% shooting from the floor in the first half.
But at the end of the day, man, when you're playing against a junk defense like that, you've got to be able to step up and make some shots to get them out of it. Because if you don't get them out of it, they're going to stick in there, and then it just, the frustration and the tension builds, like as you were watching in the game today. It just built, and it affected us everywhere. Because you're trying to figure out, okay, how do we score? How do we score? And if you look at the stats, the guys that, that they said, okay, you shoot, they got shots, and they didn't knock them down.
The Trojans scored 43 points in the second half, with 3 of the players scoring in double figures. Wesley Pearson added 14 points and went 3 of 5 from the three-point line to give the Trojans some type of spark.
It's just, this is how it goes sometimes. Some of our guys, we had chances to, step up and make some plays, and we did at moments, and sometimes we didn't, but it's just what happened.
The loss puts Troy behind the 8 ball, and with 3 teams vying for the last spot in the conference tournament, Troy has to focus on moving on to the next game.
Going to move on because we can't dwell on that, and to be such a tough loss, and knowing had we won the game, then we're that team who's one win away from probably getting in. So we just got to be able to move on. This time of the year, you can't dwell on it.
Needing crucial wins at the end of the season, the Trojans return home this weekend and take on Georgia State. Colin Cahill, Trojan Sports Now. Troy was looking to stay alive in the race for the final spot in the Sun Belt Conference Tournament Thursday night. Troy fell to Texas State by a final score of 67-61. The Trojans were able to pull within 3 late in the game, but the Bobcats made clutch free throws down the stretch to ice the game. 4 Trojans scored in double figures on Thursday night, led by John Walton, who had 16 points. Troy now is in a must-win situation heading into the final weekend of the conference season.
And the Trojan baseball team put on a show Sunday in the Cox Diamond Invitational Final against Nichols State. The Trojans erupted for 10 runs off 18 hits on 3 Nichols pitchers to take the victory 10-2. Staring down the close to the top of the first, Burt Givens started a run of 4 consecutive RBI base hits, giving Troy an early 5-0 lead. Freshman Reed Long had a monster game with a 2 RBI double in the first and later hitting his second home run of his young career. The baseball team returned home to defend its 2-game winning streak. The Sanford Bulldogs came to Troy but were left with the goose egg. The baseball team continued its win streak with a shutout victory against Sanford at Riddle Pace Field. Troy defeated the Bulldogs 6-0 in their first midweek game.
Well, I got to start out with Austin Crook, how well he threw the ball tonight, and how well he managed a couple innings there where he got in some trouble, I think. But overall, another real solid baseball game by our team. And like I told them the other night, they're starting to do some really good things. We just got to continue to build on those things, try to improve a little bit. You know, defensively, another 2 errors tonight. We got to start shaving those back. But other than that, I think we're playing pretty good.
The pitching staff is having a successful start to this season, according to head coach Bobby Pierce. The team's ERA is 1.51.
I don't remember if we've ever went this far into a season with this kind of ERA and this many shutouts. Credit to the pitching staff, credit to Coach Phillips, what they're doing.
And senior infielder Trevin Hall was a standout throughout the game. He went 3 for 4 at the plate and had 4 RBIs.
Offensively, the story was Trevin Hall, who continues to be hot. Got hot in Pensacola, stayed hot tonight, did most of the damage for us. Well, Trevin made an offensive adjustment, a little back elbow change. This really lined him up, got his timing really nice, and now he's starting to center up balls, not miss them. He's got good power, he's showing that. So I think the small adjustment he made has got him on track.
The Trojans will now host a weekend set as Southern Miss comes to Troy.
The Trojan softball team played host to the Trojan Invitational this past weekend. The Trojans had success going 4-1, including a Sunday victory over Evansville. Khadijah Tolbert has the results.
Interesting plays and big doubles led the Troy softball team to its rainy victory Sunday evening to conclude its Trojan Invitational weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we just talk about finding a way. You just got to find a way to score. I think we had some, big doubles that got us on second, and then we try to get the runner to third with less than 2 outs, and then I say it's like taking candy from a baby. It's just scoring that run however you can do it. And I think Carly Cahill did a great job today, and she was clutch, and we had a couple other people, and our pitching was great, but just find a way. It was not a pretty win, but we found a way.
Coach Mullen's overall thoughts for this weekend's Invitational was on a positive note and is glad her team has made much needed improvements.
I thought we had a good weekend, honestly. I think we let one game get away from us, but overall, we talked a lot. We practiced a lot this week on things we needed to improve on, and I think all those things we improved on, and I think we saw it in the results. I thought our facilities, Tony Ferrante and all of them did a phenomenal job of organizing it, keeping us on schedule, looking at the weather, tarping when we needed to. I'm very proud of our staff, and I'm thankful we got in all our games this weekend.
The softball team early in the season had to cancel a couple of games due to weather conditions, but for the Trojan Invitational weekend, the rain and some of the cold held off for a successful weekend.
Well, on Friday we had really cold weather, and we had a bunch of fans there, and today it rained and we had fans there, and all I could ask is that we have a fan base there that supports us and gets our girls fired up every day, and I think we had a good fan base for it being raining basically the entire day, so very thankful that they stayed throughout it.
Khadijah Tolbert, Troy Trojan Vision Sports.
The softball team is currently 9-7 on the season and will travel to DeLand, Florida this weekend. The softball team headed to Montgomery to take on Alabama State in the makeup doubleheader. The Trojans started off strong and ran away with the game. In Game 1, Troy defeated Alabama State 14-2. Michelle Phelps went 3 for 3 for the Trojans and had 1 RBI. Amanda Winters had also performed well at the plate as she went 2 for 3 and had 2 RBIs. In the second game, the long ball pushed the Trojans to 10-2 victory. Junior Hannah Day was the highlight for the second game as she went 3 for 4 with 2 home runs. Cahill also had a homer in the 5th inning to put the Trojans back on top and give them the lead that they would never relinquish. The Trojans are currently 9-7 on the season.
The men's and women's tennis teams both hosted teams over the weekend and split the results. The men's team fell to Tennessee 4-3 at the Lunsford Tennis Complex. Gabriel Diaz lost the #1 flight for singles, but Hassan Ndeshime took the #2 flight. And in the doubles competition, Diaz and Ndeshime were the only Troy pair to take the win. They won the #2 flight. And while the men took on Tennessee, the women's team took on Alabama A&M. The Trojans took the sweep with a 7-0 win. Troy won in all 6 singles flights and also took the 3 doubles pairs. The men's team is now 10-5 on the season, while the women sit at 4-4.
The men's golf team returned home from their first tournament this year, finishing 7th. Jared Betcher tied the Troy record for low round with a 65 on the final day of the tournament. Coach Matt Terry tells us that his team did a lot of good things, but still has a lot of room to grow.
The third round played really well in the middle of the round. First of the round we were 3 over. End of the round we were about 5 or 6 over, ended up 4 under par. So we had tons of birdies in the middle. Some extremely good rounds out of certain guys on a hard golf course in some ways because of the weather and the wind. But it was a good start to the spring. We didn't play too bad, didn't play too good, so we got a lot of growing to do.
With the first tournament of the spring season out of the way, the Trojans now take a 2-week break before hitting the links again.
The track and field team finished out the Sun Belt Conference Championship coming in 9th place. 2 freshmen, Niata Alexander and Sydney Wright, broke personal records in the 400-meter dash and the 60-meter dash. Alexander won 3rd in the final race of the 400-meter dash. Another freshman also saw a personal record fall. Sarah Zylstra competed in the 1-mile run and finished with a time of 5 minutes and 15 seconds. This closed out the indoor season for the track and field team. The outdoor season will begin on March 6th.
Still to come on Trojan Sports Now, we'll have a preview of the basketball team's last home games of the season.
But first, I had the chance to sit down with men's basketball player Wesley Persons. Stick around for more Trojan Sports Now.